Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Tuesday. Happy freaking Tuesday. Gary Gensler gets a congressional roasting. Oh, that was brutal. I only got to watch a couple people go in on this dude. We're going to go over the rest of this grilling, of this roasting together tonight live. Holy moly, what the world? So Bitcoin is closely correlated to the M2 money supply. Raoul Paul called it with liquidity in the business cycle and everything code. Feels like it's playing out pretty much exactly like he said. I know some of you guys is, he's just a shiller. He's just here to promote his bags. I think you got it wrong. I think you got it wrong for sure about Raoul Paul. But in any case, listen, some interesting stuff coming out of the XRP community about the lack of decentralized apps or dApps. It's interesting. We'll cover that. I think the co-founder of XP Markets is just laying out some really good stuff. It's important to pay attention. Meanwhile, Sui is going up and to the right on the network adoption curve with technology, with partnerships, with narratives. It's interesting to see Sui at $1.76. I got it at 50 something cents. Bought some more at $1.20. Is it $1.24 or $1.04? I don't even remember anymore. And then I made a purchase just a couple of days ago when it was $1.52. Interesting stuff, nonetheless. My thing was, if this is going to be a Solana-like run, I did not want to miss out on it. It's not a meme coin. It's got next level technology behind it. Any case, what's going on, family? Happy Tuesday, C, says Cali Cat 25. How are you, my friend? And the Flare fam, indeed. It's interesting to see what's going on. I told you guys I added to my FLR position the other day. Just to do some case studies. For sure, Flare's got some, nice synergy and stuff going on. They got to prove themselves out in the marketplace. For sure. It's going to be an interesting little journey next 4 or 5 years, isn't it? Cali Cat, it's going to be an interesting journey the next 4 or 5 years for Flare Networks, for sure. And this layer one blockchain for data and AI play. They got some unique advantages. They got to follow through on it because it's not just about the promise. It's about the realized promise. This is what I was trying to explain to some of my friends on the channel. It's not about the promise. It's about the realized promise. It's about the realized promise. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana have executed on not just the promise, but the realized promise. Early days. Solana is more early days than Ethereum. Ethereum is more early days than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more early days than the traditional financial system. There's some interesting stuff going on in Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys know. Very interesting. Recommendation, Jeff Booth. YouTube Jeff Booth, and listen to everything he says. And listen to it, not have to agree to it or agree what he's saying, but find yourself a voice of values. We like to say, tune in to it and stay for a while. Devon Steve, I appreciate you being here, my friend. JR is in the building. How are you, my friend? Hello from Texas. How are you? How are you? How are you, bro? Appreciate you guys checking in. Gary Gensler got the roasting of a lifetime. Hester Purse was not holding back. Hester Purse was not holding back. It's not holding back. Paul Bogo's in the building. What's going on? Hi, CJ. Yes, a few countries are all in BTC. Indeed. Look, it's important to understand what's going on here. That's all. That's all. That's all. I share my views on the weighted portfolios, weighted properly. I share my views on it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have altcoins. It's just that I'm going to weigh them differently. That's all. If I have $100, it's $10 is going to alts besides Bitcoin. $10 are going to alts besides Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, I should say. 10. If I got $1,000, $100 is going to altcoins other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. That's all. I got 10 grand, 9,000 is going to the other coins. That's all. It's just protecting for the downside. Interesting to see. I did a post, I think, about Flare Networks on the Mag 7. I don't know if I did a shorts about that or a post on X. People are like, what's the Mag 7? It's like like we have a Mag 7 right now with NVIDIA. They used to call it the FANG thing. Remember the FANG? Facebook, Apple, Netflix. Remember that? Google, Apple. And they started calling it the Mag 7 because NVIDIA and Tesla just, what's going on right now, right? Changing the game. But in any case, we got that in the digital asset space. I believe we'll have a Mag 7. I believe we'll have multiple layer ones with multi-trillion-dollar market caps. You know what I'm saying? Paul Bogle said, I would put that $10 in DAG. Things are happening. People are sleeping. I hear you, my friend. I know you're big on Constellation, aren't you? But the numbers got to prove out. Can't be just a promise. What's the network adoption like? What's the daily active users like? How is it faring on the journey of the network adoption curve? That's the formula in the digital asset space right now. When the formula changes, hey, then we'll adjust accordingly. But right now, in this new financial system, that is the formula. Are you able to garner attention and create network adoption and go up and to the right? That's what we got to look at. And then the Mag 7 is, okay, is it sustainable? Because when it becomes sustainable, you get that year-over-year return. When it becomes sustainable. Right? The only way it's becoming sustainable is it's getting this gradual progress up, not straight up. It's always low downs, but a gradual progress up, creating that network adoption, creating that year-over-year return. That's what I'm talking about. So, Paul Bogle, what do you think Constellation would return you people on a dollar cost average strategy if we plugged it along in with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana? How do you think Constellation would net you for dollar cost averaging that asset? The real big wheels in the building. How are you, fam? The blue wrenches are here in force. The real big wheel says, what's good, fam? Hope all is well. Appreciate you guys checking in. Oh, by the way, I'm going to start doing addresses instead of super chats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Solana address, Bitcoin address, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum addresses, XRP address. Getting a little, just having some thoughts on content creators providing the value. Content creators bringing the audience, growing the size of an entity. And, doing this 30%, 35% thing it does. People I talk to say that's significantly high, that 30, 35%. Yeah. Right? Because without the content creators, there is no ad revenue. So the content creators bring the content to the platform, bring the customers to the platform, and provide the vehicle for the advertisers. The platform just provides the platform. And so that 35% doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So whenever you guys would like to support the channel and help us get new equipment, especially coming up on 9,000 subs, we're going to be doing those interviews, we're going to have the new mic. Yeah, we're going to do the BTC, ETH, Solana, and XRP addresses. We're going to just do that. We're going to continue to promote the thing that we're in, moving the new financial system and not helping, not strengthening the thing that is quietly and subtly trying to push its influence on you, like freedom of speech or the lack thereof. Move accordingly is in the building. How are you? He says, sorry, I'm late. It's been a bit busy. No worries, brother. Did you guys see what happened today with Gary the Clown? Yeah, we're going to go over that. We're going to go over the numbers real quick. And then we're going to go over that move accordingly. It was interesting. I did get to see some of it. I'm going to go over the bankless clips, and then I'll cover some stuff from Bank XRP and some other stuff I covered. But let's go over to CoinGecko. Check out the numbers real quick. According to CoinGecko, because, we have to do the numbers because the market's just doing what the market does. According to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is 2.36 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is 54% or so. Look like these largest gainers are over here on the BTC ordinals thing. Pups is a BTC ordinals. And I forget what the other thing is called. Ordinals and BRC20 thing. Pups, that's what that is. Bitcoin is trading at $64,333. $339 again. On the 30-day, it's down it's up 0.5%. Ethereum is trading at $2,651 again. And on the 30-day, it's down 3.5%. Solana is trading at $153 again. And on the 30-day, it's up 5.5%. XRP is trading at 59 cents again. And on the 30-day, it's down 1.6%. It is interesting to see when you can tap the L1 that's leading this charge, and it's looking like it's SUI right now. Interesting numbers. And FET is not far behind. BitTensor is having some interesting numbers as well. It's interesting. I don't have any of these. I don't have FET. I don't have BitTensor. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just a little late. Just a little late. I may look to some SUI plays like Cetus, Turbos. I may look at those and see how it goes. But anyway, SUI on the 30-day is up 72% on the 30-day. BitTensor's up 60% on the 30-day. Nothing is kind of hanging out with those numbers. The difference between BitTensor is, and SUI is a little different. Now, a lot of people turn to BitTensor as the AI play. I'm not sure that it is. I took a tiny position on something that I think is going to make moves. Let's take a look at it and see. But it was so tiny, I don't know. I bought it at the all-time high, of course. When I looked at it, yeah, so I'm really curious to see. Total supply is 35 million. When this thing gets legs, and it might not happen till the next cycle, But they got a nice little thing going on here. It's very interesting. They're with Pepe Coin, which are the original people from Pepe. Not that Pepe, the people left, it's just some other people kind of infringed upon the idea of Pepe and went running with it. So 148 million in a market cap. Interesting. So anyway, yeah, but I bought so high here, you know. I bought really high. Anyway, there it is. That's the market, fam. Market is just doing what the market does. Let me see if I can find the bankless clips and check out Gary Gensler just getting the business. Move accordingly, just getting the business. Then we're going to cover Raul Paul again. He's been sharing with the regular Joes instead of just his billionaire investor clients. He's been sharing with the average retailer, saying what was most likely to happen and how it's playing out, kind of just like he said, because he has a macro picture. All right. Oh, how is this clips? It's only 12 seconds. That's not going to work. 12 seconds of clips? What is that going to do? Yeah. Oh, okay. Here are the clips. It's like, how it is going to work. All right. This is one of my favorite guys, Senator Patrick McHenry. He's a sharp dude. And anyway, let's take a listen. Shout out to the pink team from Bankless, Ryan, Sean Adams, and David Hoffman.
The direct question is about the different terms. And rather than answering that question, you answered a separate question. Kudos to you. Let's get into this question. The direct question is about.
Here's another one.
Sent you a letter about the regulatory treatment for Chair Gensler. In March, the Agriculture and Financial Services Committee sent you a letter about the regulatory treatment for Ether, the native token of the Ethereum blockchain.
God bless.
In the letter,
Here we go.
The SEC is using different terms to describe digital assets. This includes crypto tokens, crypto security tokens, crypto asset securities, digital asset securities, and digital asset securities that are investment contracts. Does the SEC differentiate between crypto tokens and tokenized securities?
Whether any one offer or sale of an asset is a security depends on the facts and circumstances. In terms of the language or nomenclature, it's less about the terms, it's more about the economics, and it really goes down to a Supreme Court test, which is the law of the land called the Howey test, and whether an investment contract is being offered and sold to the public, and that public is looking to others in a common enterprise.
This has been his strategy forever.
So the labels matter less.
We're just following the rules of the Supreme Court. Howey test. It's not my problem.
There are different terms and words have meaning. And the fact that you've used multiple different words to explain what seems to be the same phenomenon, I think really raises questions about clarity.
Well, the laws are clear and it's written by the Supreme Court, but also
the laws are clear,
written by the
Supreme
Supreme Court.
SEC is a lack of clarity. That's what I'm trying to ask you about. You have the direct question is about the different terms. And rather than answering that question, you answered a separate question. Kudos to you. Here for crypto is that there's no terms are being used here for crypto is that there's no regulatory clarity or consensus identifying which tokens may or may not be offered pursuant to an investment contract.
I think that's absolutely true. We've taken a legally imprecise view to mask the regulatory lack of clarity.
So
Let's go.
This question of an investment contract, the SEC defined crypto asset securities as an investment contract represented by the underlying crypto asset. Yet, tucked away in a footnote and on an amended complaint, the SEC clarified a security is determined by the quote, contracts, expectations, and understandings centered on the sales and distribution of a digital asset, and not that the digital asset itself is a security. Is the SEC using inconsistent standards here? I mean, is that what's happening?
I think what's happening is that we're trying to be ambiguous because the legal precision carries with it real implications. And this is why people have been coming to us and saying we need clarity. Is the token itself a security? Or is it part of an investment contract? Is it being sold together with an investment contract? If it is, what is that investment contract and how long does it track along with the token? By using imprecise language, we've been able to sort of suggest that the token itself is a security apart from that investment contract, which has implications for secondary sales. It has implications for who can list it. And I think this is absolutely, we've fallen down on our duty as a regulator not to be precise. And so tucking into a footnote that, yes, we admit that now actually the token itself is not a security. That's something that we should have admitted long ago, and then started wrestling with the difficult questions.
Right.
Dude, look at the smile on her face. Yeah.
So Hester Purse, so they conveniently, the Congress strategically, they realized that Hester Purse has been agreeing with them for the vast amount of years with all her notices of dissent and why she's disagreeing with this ruling or that ruling, whatever. And so when having them all together now, Congress knew that they were going to be able to point, ask Gary a question and have him do his typical, little dance, little shuffle around answering. And then they're going to get to the real deal. And the real answer is by going to Hester Purse. And she said point blank, we should have admitted that the token in and of itself is not a security from the beginning. It's not a great look.
A mic to drop, please.
I think clarity for the agency. Or is this something the agency can do itself?
We certainly have authority where we can provide guidance. We can use our exemptive authority. It's always helpful to have Congress weigh in, but there certainly are some guidelines we could provide in this area that we have chosen not to provide.
Statutory definition would help.
Well, I always welcome the input of Congress.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a big old smile on her face. Holy smoke. Oh, well. Anyway, here's the one here. It says Representative Andy Barr from representative out of Kentucky, looks like, just dragged the lawlessness of Operation Choke Point 2.0 into the daylight. Huh. All right, let's take a listen.
And the SEC identified, Chair Gensler, you say Howie is clear, but let me tell you what's not clear. What's not clear is what the rules of the road are if you're in the crypto business.
Yep.
Over the past several years, the SEC has brought approximately 150 enforcement actions related to the digital asset ecosystem. In 2023 alone, the SEC brought nearly 50, up from 53% from 2022. Let me read a description of what your agency is doing to one particular company, Coinbase.
Okay, here we go.
Today's Wells notice does not provide a lot of information for us to respond to. The SEC staff told us that they have identified potential violations of securities law, but little more. We asked the SEC specifically to identify which assets on our platforms they believe may be securities, and they declined to do so. Today's Wells notice also comes after Coinbase provided multiple proposals to the SEC about registration over the course of months, all of which the SEC ultimately refused to respond to. So
Let's go.
Coinbase repeatedly, 30 times, tried to come in and register with the SEC,
30
and the
times.
SEC refused to respond.
30
They
times.
then submitted a petition for a rulemaking, which was rebuked, which was completely
Please give
ignored.
this to Hester.
Then the SEC identified potential violations in a Wells notice, but refused to identify what those were. Howie, in your mind, is very clear. What participants in the crypto space are telling us is that this is totally unclear. Commissioner Purse, is
Yes.
this moving target, is this lawlessness by the commission conducive to investor protection?
No, it's not.
Thank you.
Chair Gensler, I think, we need
Not.
not only Fit 21, but we need an SEC that actually establishes rules so that everybody knows what they are and enforces those rules instead of making everything a moving target and refusing to respond to requests from investors and providers of crypto assets, what those rules are.
And of course, Tom Emmer goes in on it. Let me welcome some people to the channel, to the stream here. Can you sense like the frustration is just, can't you sense the frustration in a lot of these people's voices when they're talking and speaking? It's venomous, right? I mean, these guys are just like upset. Oh, Creator Rod's in the building. What's going on? What's going on, my friend? Jack A says, man, he got ripped. Where's professional curiosity or respect anymore? Co-creator Rod, yes, sir, says, hit them likes, fam. That's right, family. Do me a favor, hit the like button. If you didn't do so on the way in, no worries. Just collapse the chat. Go smash that like and come back and hang out with the Crypto Siege and fam tonight, live. Holy. Who else came in? Did I miss anyone? Let's see. Paul Bogle. Great River IT. How are you, my friend? Where was the professional respect to companies who came in and registered and ended up getting sued? That's right. That's exactly right. People, the ones who did come in and share their stuff and trying to have full disclosures and trying to show them what they got going on, they end up getting sued. I mean, it's an embarrassment in epic proportions. What's Gary Gensler has done in epic proportions. It's kind of brutal. Paul Bogle says Gary got wrecked today. Indeed, he did. Indeed, they did. Can the congressional folk get him removed? I don't think they can. I think the president can, Jack A. So Jack A is asking, can the congressional folks get Gary Gensler removed? I don't think they can. I think it's like a Congress. President thing. And the worst part is that he hoodwinked them in his interviews, you know, a little, I forget what they call that, where they, you know, you got to get the congressional blessing from both sides, essentially. I mean, he hoodwinked, bamboozled them. He put the show on and was like, yeah, I love the digital asset space. I'm looking forward to moving this innovation forward, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was a complete lie. He pulled a hoodwink on all those people, and they're madly upset about it. Paul Bogle says Trump already said he's gone. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's go to the Tom Emmer one. Tom Emmer just for 4 minutes, just I mean, let me see if I have that one itself without the clips.
Chair Gensler, you say Howie is clear, but let me tell you what's not clear. What's not clear is what the rules of the road are if you're.
Okay. See if I can't find that. Tom Emmer, here it is. Tom Emmer says if Gary Gensler's mouth is moving, he is lying. He is likely lying. In 2021,
in
Gensler
the crypto business.
Yep.
Over the past several years.
Why is this thing just starting on its own here?
Just from the in the crypto business.
Yep.
Over the past several years, the SEC has brought approximately 150
But also
enforcement actions related to the digital asset ecosystem. In 2023 alone, the SEC brought nearly 50, up from 53% from 2022.
Let's try this again. I don't know what's going on.
Civil service, thank you. Chair Gensler, leadership comes from the top, correct?
Leadership comes from a lot of things, but the top matters a lot.
It's yes. The answer is yes, sir. But under your leadership at the SEC, it appears that you expect political allegiance, not just from the political appointees, but also from the civil servants you hired. Isn't that correct?
That is not correct, sir.
Well, sir, that's yet another deliberate distortion of the truth. The House has obtained emails between you and your now Director of Training and Markets. He interviewed with you and then sent you a follow-up email reassuring you, sir, that he aligned with your political views. So that to me seems like you expect political allegiance from the people that you hire as civil servants at the SEC.
Whoa.
The way you hire and the culture you require encourages your staff to have loyalty to you above the law and above the mission of the SEC. Which brings us to the debt box case in Utah, where your attorneys, who no doubt heard your anti-crypto rhetoric, which is not based in law, went out and deliberately lied to a court in order to effectuate the commands from their chair to prosecute crypto companies. Chair Gensler, do you know of any other time in history where the SEC has been sanctioned by a court for material misrepresentation?
First, if I might say, when we hire folks, we hire.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir. The answer to that question is no, it has never happened. But let me ask you another one. Does the fact that we're talking about this today even slightly embarrass you?
Look, the matters in that case were not well handled, and
Reclaiming my
we've said
time
that
again.
to the court.
Reclaiming my time again. The debt box case should absolutely be embarrassing to you, sir. And just to be clear, the SEC had to pay with taxpayer dollars nearly $2 million in legal fees for this material misrepresentation, for this lie. You are aware of that, I'm sure. Is the debt box case the reason that why the SEC's head of crypto asset and cyber unit resigned in June, sir?
No, they went to take another job.
Okay, so no one in a senior level position here in Washington, D.C. has been held responsible for this complete abuse of taxpayer dollars. The SEC broke the law, your attorneys lied to the court, and no one in your leadership here in D.C. has been held accountable. That tracks. Seems like business as usual here in Washington. Okay, switching gears very quickly. It's been recently reported that Vice President Harris has finally said she'd craft clear rules of the road for the digital asset space if she becomes president. Is this your approach too, sir? Or do you think she's rebuking you because she doesn't think you've done a good enough job establishing these clear rules over the last 3 years of her administration?
I think that there's laws in place. If Congress wishes to change them, they'll change them. But we are enforcing the laws, and there are many
Reclaiming
people
my
in this
time.
field
So you don't
that are
think
not
she's
following
rebuking
the laws.
Reclaiming my time. Well, it's very interesting that you view your performance that way, because we have a litany of court cases, extraordinary confusion in the marketplace, and millions of Americans pining for clarity from you. You've abused the agency's enforcement tools, and you've even baited companies eager to comply with you, only to hit them with enforcement actions. You've retaliated against businesses and people who have come before this committee to talk about the next generation of American finance. And perhaps somehow, worst of all, you've made up the term crypto asset security. This term is nowhere to be found in statute. You made it up. You never provided any interpretive guidance on how crypto asset security might be defined within the walls of your SEC. Yet, you made the broad proclamation that you believe a majority of tokens are crypto asset securities. You did this, and you would deliberately use this made-up term as the basis for your entire enforcement crusade over the past 3 years, only for your lawyers to retract it in a footnote to a court just last week. Your inconsistencies on this issue, sir, have set this country back. We could not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC.
Destructive and lawless chairman in the SEC. Whoa. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. He invented the term crypto asset security out of thin air. This term does not exist in statute and has not been defined anywhere, including within the SEC. Gensler just made it up and then used it as the basis for his entire regulation by enforcement strategy. That was the SEC's bread and butter until recently, when the SEC admitted regret for confusing the marketplace with its use of Gensler's made-up term, crypto asset security, even though that is exactly what Gensler tried and failed to establish many times. The SEC lies again. The SEC lies again. Bank XRP has some clips I want to share as well, if I can find them. This is from Warren Davidson. Here's Congressman Davidson also grills Gary Gensler over crypto regulation. This is a quote. For that, I propose the SEC Stabilization Act as a structural reform to deal with Gary Gensler problem. All right, this is 5 minutes, so let me get into the chat here. Welcome some people on before I go into that. Dude, Emerald was not playing. He don't like it. He's tired of hearing this nonsense. Move accordingly says no appeal, huh? Yeah, you're probably right about it. Talking about the SEC versus Ripple case, you're probably right. Jack A says, I think if enough of them pressured the press, the president could get him replaced. Yes. Yeah. It's, the challenge is that the current president's not really running the show, and they got other people running it for him. And I think removing him is, I remember doing a video, live stream about this months and months and months ago, where they were going to have to come to a point where they would have, the current administration would have to make a decision on whether or not it was going to hurt their chances keeping him there, hurt their chances by keeping Gary Gensler there, or hurt their chances more by removing him during the current presidency. I'm not sure how much pull Elizabeth Warren has at the current administration, but that's where they are with this dude. And the fact that they put it in a footnote how they were wrong and they apologized for causing confusion is just the biggest embarrassment I know of. What's going on, Zober? How are you, my friend? And he said, and Kamala would promote him. Yeah. Indeed, she would. Callie Cass says, I don't see Gary keeping his job no matter who gets into office. It's just not a good look. I hear you, my friend. Callie Cat 25 says, I'm reclaiming my time. It's hilarious. Every time he says it, he is getting cooked out here. I mean, it's just not a great look. I'm hoping, Move Accordingly says, I'm hoping he will be removed before October. That would be really, really nice. Maybe the current administration does make that move. I don't know if that would offset anything that would happen with, it would help, I guess. I think it would help with them kind of getting a shot at getting more votes. I think that would help. But we'll see. We'll see if they dare make this move. Now let's listen to Warren Davis. This is 5 minutes, so grab your favorite libation and tune in here.
Subcommittee is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman McHenry, for putting this historic hearing together, long in the making. Thank you to our witnesses. It's great to have all 5 of you here today. Today's hearing directs attention to the commission's dysfunctions and frankly to the chairman's politicization of the commission and its work. Let me highlight 7 failures. Abuse of the rulemaking procedures, 61 so far, inappropriately short public comment periods, unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates, Hotel California style rules for crypto, where they all have the ability or direction to come check in anytime you like, but never with the authority to leave with some approval or clarity. Endless discovery with no resolution, no clarity, regulation by enforcement for crypto. An unworkable proposal to overhauling our equity market structure, de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule, and failure to work with Congress, frankly undermining the work that Congress done to provide clarity here. So as many of my colleagues have done today at this hearing, the courts have, even the DOJ have highlighted severe mismanagement. The list goes on, but unfortunately, I do have limited time. Commissioner Purse, would you say that the SEC's rulemaking and enforcement agenda reflects the priorities of the commissioners as a whole, or has the commission become an extension of Chairman Gensler's agenda?
The agenda is the chairman's agenda.
Do you guys have collaboration? I mean, I saw one of the commissioners today look like it might be the first time he was asked his opinion on something, just expected to ratify whatever Chairman Gensler throws out there.
I mean, I think the issue is that Chair Gensler has a lot of ideas that he's trying to move forward on, and there are other things that I think we should be spending our time on that we're not spending our time on. And so I think that's the nature of some of our disagreements.
Problems being left unsolved. I appreciate you for highlighting many of them. My concern is just that by taking the world's best capital markets, I mean, we don't even have 5% of the world's GDP, but we have over 50% of the world's invested capital. We're taking something that works pretty well, that needs clarity and oversight to continue. Instead, we're working with a declared war by Secretary Warren and other Gary Gensler allies to undermine our capital markets and some of the most innovative companies out there. For that reason, I proposed the SEC Stabilization Act as a structural reform to deal with our Gary Gensler problem, but also with the structural challenges at the SEC that highlight it can be exploited by bad actors. One of the areas that I want to highlight is special purpose broker dealers. Commissioner Purse, do you believe that a special purpose broker dealer process could provide a first step towards broker dealers handling tokenized securities?
I mean, at the time that it came out, I said it could be a baby step, but that was 4 years ago, and this baby's not walking yet. So I'm not as optimistic as I was back then.
Yeah, I'm concerned as well, and it kind of creates a separate path where some of Chairman Gensler's friends and allies could get special permission and the rest of the market be excluded. For each commissioner, maybe we'll start down there with you, Mr. Ueda. Have you or any member of your staff been instructed by the SEC staff to direct or otherwise ask FINRA to avoid approving broker-dealer applications with crypto assets?
No, I have not.
Commissioner Purse?
No, but TM is, our Trading and Markets Division is the one that interacts with FINRA. So it's, I mean, the issue is that there's a cultural, there's clear messaging from the SEC that we're not trying to move the crypto industry forward, and that's reflected in this as well.
There's clear messaging that we're not trying to move the crypto industry forward. Where is Gary Gensler getting his marching orders? So as a Warren, who is she in bed with, if you will? The big bank. She played the American people to get into office. She played them. She played them to get elected. She told them, American people, what they wanted. Then she went to bed and teamed up with the bankers for her own financial benefit. This is why Move Accordingly, we say on the channel all the time. All the time. Those who would sacrifice their country for personal profits. These should not be people in positions that they're in. The unelected bureaucrats having more of a say than the people in Congress. This is what happened with the Federal Reserve and how we got the central bank Federal Reserve system. It was a hoodwink and bamboozle job on Congress. If you do your history, it was a hoodwink bamboozle move pulled, spearheaded by Rockefellers and the likes. Imagine that. We could, look, we don't have to get the Congress people. We can get the people who are unelected, who one person selects, and we can control them. We can control the regulators. We can get in their pockets. We can control them. Bypassing who the people put in office. You understand? Bypassing the Congress, bypassing the people we put at the House, bypassing the people we put in the Senate, bypassing the people and what the people want. A few people got together and came up with that plan to enrich those families. This is why I talk about old money. That's the old money. If you read up on the real history of Rockefeller, it would be alarming to you. Smart, but alarming. It's just something about it. And the people, when enough's not enough, and we got to move the thing that we think. So, right, this family and that family, right, one or two people from each of those families. This goes back to the Da Vinci days, by the way.
Thank you, Commissioner.
No.
No, and I think I might disagree a little bit with the clear messaging point from Commissioner Peirce on the clear direction. I think there's lots of rhetoric and we can get down to brass tacks and look at ways to move forward.
Well, Mr. Gensler, no surprise, many of us aren't fans of your approach to the job, but it does seem that you've abused your authority, and you seem to kind of gloat as candidate Harris decides that she wants to pivot on crypto and say, no, you can trust us. We're going to be okay on this. It seems like you're gloating. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. The war on crypto goes on. So as you highlighted, you meet with the chairman of the Federal Reserve regularly. Do you guys discuss things like Operation Choke Point 2.0, the way to block and restrict market certainty for crypto affiliated firms?
I've never heard that term, and I also want to say half of the rules that we've adopted, 42 rules, half of them have actually been bipartisan.
Some of the work's been good, but a lot of it's been bad. Last question, Commissioner Ueda. What would it take to allow distributed ledger to be the official record of ownership for tokenized securities? If you could respond in writing, that'd be good because my limited time has expired.
Yowzers, gloating. All right, here's our guy here, Mr. Torres. he just loves to jab at Gensler. All right, let's take a listen to this.
Market. And as
Torres for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gensler, suppose I were to sell you a Yankee ticket and tell you that the Yankee ticket could appreciate in value and could be resold at a profit in the secondary market. And as is the case with all sports tickets, suppose the proceeds from the sale of the Yankee ticket goes toward paying for the Yankee game. By selling you the Yankee ticket, am I entering into an investment contract with you and therefore conducting an unregistered security offering?
I appreciate the question. I don't know all the facts and circumstances, but I don't think so. I mean, I know where we're headed here, Representative, but I don't think so in that Yankee.
So a Yankee ticket is not, and why is the Yankee ticket not a security?
Well, it's really a question, and the courts have been clear on this, is the offer and sale.
Specifically with a Yankee ticket though, when you're buying a Yankee ticket, what are you purchasing?
You're buying
access to a Yankee game. Is that fair to say?
I understand. It's been a while since I went to a Yankee game, but that's.
You're welcome to.
I used to live in New York, and my three daughters were all born in New York.
So in the Stoner Cats case, the creators were selling an NFT that offered access to an animated web series. From the standpoint of federal securities law, is there a legal difference between buying a Yankee ticket that offers you the experience of a Yankee game and buying an NFT that offers you the experience of an animated web series?
Again, I don't want to comment on any one specific.
It was a settlement, it's a fait accompli. It's not an ongoing litigation. You can comment on it.
But it's about how is something offered and sold? Is it offered and sold as an investment contract? Or are individuals looking to a common enterprise anticipating profits based on the?
Well, I'm familiar with the definition and you're avoiding the question. See, here's the danger I see with the Gensler theory of investment contracts.
It's right? Actually the Supreme Court's theory.
Well, your idiosyncratic interpretation of the Supreme Court theory. The expectation or promise that an object could appreciate in value or that an object could be sold at a profit in the secondary market, that expectation or profit could be retrospectively attributed to just about any collectible or any consumer good or any piece of art or any piece of music. The trouble with the Gensler theory of investment contracts is that it's so open-ended that it lacks anything resembling a limiting principle. It blurs the line between collectible and security, between art and security.
Hmm. I like
Torres
I
for
like-
5 minutes.
Richie Torres, Congressman, Representative Torres. He nailed him. He nailed him. Oh my God, they nailed him. Keyless is in the building. How are you? She said, "Oh, this guy turns my stomach." Indeed. Move accordingly says, "Sounds like someone is trying to take Gary's job." Yeah, I would not be surprised. The challenge with a new administration is this, this kind of what's the word? This kind of agreements going in. Like, he's not gonna get elected and then have a meeting and say, who should we put here? And who should we put there? And like a lot of that stuff is already kind of settled already. But Hester Peirce has been very public about, dissension and her dissension letters, they call them, and her disagreements with him, which I certainly applaud. She knows she's in a position where the chair is really, the chair is really the chair. That's what it is. Crypto's in the building. How are you, my friend? Appreciate you checking in. He kind of runs the show. And it's interesting that Mrs. Crenshaw doesn't seem to agree with that, but that is what's going on. He's abusing his power. It's the reason why a lot of people left. I don't know if you guys remember a year and a half or so, maybe even 2 years ago, just people just started exiting at a unusual rapid pace. And it was because of him. It was because of what he had going on. So anyway, that's enough of the roasting here. I do want to cover some stuff from Raoul Pal. I think it's really important. Again, I know a lot of people just think the dude he's just chilling. He just wants to show his bags. And missing the fact that this dude is in service to billionaire, multi-billionaire clients. Oh, that's 4 minutes and 54 seconds. So that's another interesting one here as well. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce says they're allowing, quote unquote, particular entities, end quote, to bypass the SEC rule preventing regulated financial institutions from custodying Bitcoin and crypto. Well, maybe let's listen to this one before we go on the round.
Under the passing my resolution under the CRA to repeal the bulletin with support from Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in the Senate before it was eventually vetoed by the Biden-Harris administration. We are now hearing that the SEC's Office of the Chief Accountant is engaging in conversations with some market participants on a case-by-case confidential basis to inform them if they need to comply with SOB 121. It looks like one firm even received a non-objection from the bulletin. It's incredible how big of a hole the SEC has dug itself into. Yet, despite the backtracking and the rebuke from both houses of Congress, earlier today, Chair Gensler indicated he would not rescind SOB 121 in response to a question from my friend across the aisle, Mr. Wiley Nickel. Chair Gensler, now that the Office of the Chief Accountant is picking and choosing who needs to comply with SOB 121, why wouldn't the SEC simply rescind SOB 121 entirely or issue a new guidance?
Stepping back, this guidance is the 121st. It's what we've been doing for 52 years. And it's guidance about what happens in bankruptcy, whose assets are there. And crypto bankruptcy after crypto bankruptcy courts have said it's not the investors, it's the bankruptcy estate. That's what that accounting bulletin is about. Is it a liability in bankruptcy, basically? And customers.
Let me reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Peirce, what kind of signal does it send when the SEC is carving out individual firms from its own staff accounting guidance on an one-off basis? What would be the approach you'd recommend instead of a response to the problems caused by Sub 121?
The approach I'd recommend is we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to figure out what the right accounting is in this area, and we need to do that involving the public in a process, not just putting out a staff bulletin. And then applying it, Chair Gensler mentioned earlier, it applies to public companies, and that's true. It applies on its face to public companies, but we've also applied it to broker dealers. And now, as you pointed out, we're peeling it back for particular entities. There was a question earlier about why there's only one custodian in the ETP space. And one of the reasons is because of our SAB 121, which makes it very hard for people to be custodians in this space.
And think about the market concentration. There's been no accounting bulletin from the SEC that has ever been as fundamentally flawed as SAB 121, nor has there ever been one that has been considered a rule according to the GAO. And we certainly haven't seen 60 US senators overturn any of the 120 previous accounting bulletins either. Something's amiss here. This does not look right for the SEC. The situation we're in today is indicative of a failure of your organization to recognize just how problematic SAB 121 has been. Chair Gensler, do you believe that SAB 121 has led to concentration risk because of how few entities are able to offer digital asset custody services?
I think it's actually the right accounting. Off-balance sheet accounting is also what in part got us into the 2008 crisis. So just remember, like, when people are trying to hide things and put them off balance sheet, it's not good. Also,
you talk about hiding things, Chairman Gensler. We don't even know what deals you're cutting on SAB 121 when you give a no objection letter to a different firm. Like, if we're going to talk about hiding things, let's talk about transparency. Let's talk about how do people in this country operate under our laws when your commission is doing backroom deals with one-off companies and writing them a no objection letter. That's not transparent. That's not in the interest of the American people. You can't follow rules that you don't know about. What's going on?
The accounting bulletin is the staff accounting bulletin is out, but also for years, companies come in, public companies, and said, this is how we're going to account for something. Do you object? And in this case, if it's remote from bankruptcy, if a company is going to go bankrupt and it's truly the customer's
I'm
fund.
going to hold you there because I want to give your colleague a chance. Commissioner Peirce, I'd like to pose the same question to you. It's market concentration. Is that a risk from SAB 121?
It is a risk, and the accounting raises real questions about whether this is protective of investors or not. And so that's why I think we need to go out with a real process, try to figure this out.
At the end of the day, the SEC has to read the room. And the entire House of Representatives voted on this, and a majority of members of the House rebuked SAB 121, and the Senate, led by the opposing party, they passed it with 60 votes, including the majority leader. This is not a good look for the SEC. This should go away. This is bad policy. With that, I yield back.
Now on to Raoul Paul. So shout out to that dude. Yeah. He says something, he's given this, he's intimating this, there's something fishy going on. It smells bad. It doesn't look good. Why only one entity is given this right to custody these digital assets? And I believe that was BNY Mellon. I know a lot of people get excited about Larry Fink and BlackRock. I understand the power that he wields. But just because he's a salesman doesn't mean he's a Bitcoin bro. Doesn't mean he's looking out for you or I. He's a sales guy. He sells ETFs. He's a salesman. They make big time fees. So if he can find a product that is in high demand, doesn't mean he has to like the product. He likes the commission and the fees from the product. Doesn't mean he likes the asset. Doesn't mean he likes the asset class. He wasn't singing the praises of Bitcoin as a hedge, or what did he say, as this hedge for the debasement of currency by other countries before he had that ETF paperwork and everything else lined up. In fact, he had a lot of negative things to say. To me, he's just a sales guy. But anyway, let's go to Raoul Paul here real quick, because I think, we say on the channel all the time, Jack A, know your teachers. Know your teachers. I'm gonna share Raoul Paul. Now, this, if you've been tuning in for a while, not just a post on X or two, but have watched video after video after video. If you spent 2 hours watching the video on the exponential A's in the business cycle, you would have seen this chart time and time. One of these charts time and time and time again. But this is the one right here. It says, I love the smell of more cowbell in the morning. That's liquidity. The everything code is in full play. And this is around the third inning. Remember, markets lag global liquidity by 10 weeks. In parentheses, he's got new China stimulus doesn't even appear on the chart yet. So this is prior to today's announcement. But if you watch his videos, if you tune into different interviews, if you're doing your homework and you do diligence on finding more voices of value, you would know that he said in interview after interview about that China was going to make this move. He talked about China meeting with Yellen, and this was probably the move that they agreed upon that they were going to do. I've heard him say this in interview after interview after interview, speaking to this very move, and this thing just happened today. He's a macro guy. He studies the macro markets. His newsletter is the #1 newsletter to high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals. The hedge funds, institutions, the endowments, they get his stuff. They go to him. Someone said, how can you know where global liquidity will be in December? Is this just an educated guess? He said, we have mapped it out to the end of 2025 via the everything code. Watch the video on it. Yep. Sure did. I know it's 2 hours. But are we here to be merely speculators, or are we here to become sophisticated investors? We're here to become sophisticated investors. If a guy is giving to retail for free the stuff he charges billionaires, maybe you want to tune in for a little bit. Raul, is the correlation that tight over long terms, periods, years, etc.? He says, very. Very. So here's the other thing he said here that I'm going to share what Lynn Alden shared. Here's a long-term chart of cowbell, global liquidity versus Bitcoin, as many of you were asking for it. Someone asked a question. How do you guys project the GMI total liquidity index? That's the global market investors thing. Tried to play with it in the Real Vision app, but wasn't able to find it. Raul said it's a GMI proprietary measure of government and private sector liquidity. Proprietary measure. So you got to be in the right, it won't be in the Real Vision thing. You got to be a GMI member, which is a totally separate thing that he has, this global market investor thing. And it's tens of thousands of dollars, I believe, for that newsletter. When Alden shared this, I'm trying to see the one I want. Is this the one I want? Is that the one? I commissioned a research report written by Sam to quantify Bitcoin's correlation to measures of global money creation relative to other asset classes. The result, Bitcoin moves in the direction of global M2 83% of the time, which is more than any other asset. You got BND in there. I don't know what that is. You got TLT. I don't know what that is. You got EEM. You got gold. You got VT, SPX, which is second closest, and Bitcoin is the biggest, closest to the global liquidity. Directional alignment with global liquidity in 12-month periods. Global M2 or broad money is mainly affected by two things: the rate of global money creation and the strength of the dollar relative to other fiat currencies. I just heard someone say today that there's Yellen is trying to get something passed and asking for somewhere to close to $1 trillion, some crazy number, under the guise of climate control. So that she can sneak in the money printing. $1 trillion. And the number two is the strength of the dollar relative to other fiat currencies. That DXY, it's important. And Raoul Paul talks about that a lot. And why it's important. This, in essence, was what the correlation looks like in chart form. Global M2, Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin price, M2. There's the correlations. Look at this one especially. One thing I emphasized for the report is directional correlation in addition to just raw correlation. In other words, magnitude aside, how often does an asset class at least move in the same direction as the pace of money creation? That filters out volatility-related noise. And you can check out the full report here if you want to read it. But my whole point to this is never, ever in the history of financial assets and money has the average Joe or Jane been privy to the likes of Lynn Alden, Raoul Paul, Dan Tapiero, Anthony Scaramucci. That has never happened before. No, it was only their dudes who got that inside stuff. Not inside stuff, but were privy to their thing without having to pay. Because they were buds, they were pals, they ran in the same circles. But because of the digital asset space and all the stuff that we've created in transparency and the notion of decentralization and a level playing field, when these people that I just mentioned said, oh man, here's the shot for the average Joe or Jane, we always in the back of our mind, we felt bad for them because we knew that they were always our liquidity exit, that we always felt bad, but now we got this thing that we can share and everybody can win because it's a new system. It's a new system. And heck, they were here before we were here. We've had to learn from them. Safadine, Andreas Antonopoulos, Charlie Shrem, the OGs. These guys are continuing to learn from people in the digital asset space. Never have we been privy to such items like this, information like this. Keela says BlackRock is not looking out for anyone but BlackRock. That's right. I think it's interesting that BlackRock is kind of saying, hey, we're looking in a subtle way. They're saying that they're looking to another custodian. Oh, it just happens to be the only one who got the Sob 121 backdoor deal that the congressman just mentioned. Why do you think they want to put that entity and give them the ability to custody digital assets? Because they can lump that in, digital assets in, with the great taking. And they can run with that BS of, oh, you know, no one's going to just want to custody their own stuff. No, no one's just going to want to do that. No? Tell me if your 75-year-old parent or grandparent doesn't have a wallet. Do they have a wallet? Bank cards in it? They got a checkbook? What about ID? So they got ID in the wallet. They got bank cards in the wallet, got credit cards in the wallet. How come they not worried about that? I'm just not buying this. Oh, it's so scary. Why? Why is it scary? Maybe 85. Maybe 85, maybe 90. Okay, I'll give you the 85 to the 85 and older crowd. I give you them. A lot of issues start happening. And then anyone find it fascinating and interesting that B.Y. Mellon was the one that got that exemption for custodying the assets? Yeah, I'll cover this. That's interesting. That's not a great look. Thanks for the thread. Anyone find that interesting? I find it interesting. The B.N.Y. Mellon. Got that. Again, to me, it's about the great taking. It's about the great taking, in my view. There's a reason that this whole ethos about decentralization, self-custody, hard assets. I find that to be interesting, that that's the ethos of the digital assets. Decentralization in hopes to prevent monopolies like Google and Apple. Decentralization. Self-custody, because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Just read The Great Taking. You can go to thegreattaking.com and download the PDF and understand that that is in place in law. Lawfully. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Lawfully. They can take it. Trustless. Yeah, there you go, Ian. Yeah, decentralized and trustless is the only way. Trustless. I'm just alarmed by the amount of people in crypto or should I say the amount of people in the XRP community just excited about every time Ripple makes a move for the central bank digital currency space. It's alarming. Even if you hold shares of Ripple, couldn't you hold shares of Ripple and not be excited about a central bank digital currency and their ability to see every transaction you're doing and making, and its ability to say you can't spend the money here because of something you did over there? That's shot possibility. Move accordingly and said that's a bar, LOL. Right? It's fascinating to me. It really is. Fascinating to me. So Bitcoin's moving with the money supply. That's not right. Okay, that's right. I was about to say that ain't right. And that's great. Again, Raoul Paul's called it. And it's not like I'm just saying that I've listened enough to know. And have you listened enough? Know your teachers, fam. Know your teachers. That means that you got to be able to pop your head outside of the XRPL bubble. Take a look around. Find opposing views. See what it looks like, tastes like, smells like. See if it makes sense. Apply the principle of discernment. It's not about the asset, it's about the protocol. And in the digital asset space, the ethos is everything. Decentralization, trustless, self-custody. These ethos are back in the day things that we have to get back to, in my opinion. Ian Sterling says, was there a vote for Ripple's clawback function? I'm not sure. I think so. I think so, though. So there it is, fam. I'm excited for the space for sure. It's going to be an exciting time. I'm going to cover this XRPL DApp thing in another video. This is very, very interesting. I'll cover that in another video. So I appreciate you guys checking in. Nope, it says no, they didn't vote yet. So look, it's an exciting time. BTC is a 64K. We got to get above 65 to be trending, to begin trending in the right direction. September is historically not great. I would not be surprised to see this is October, November, December. So Q4 is really kind of that year, that 88% historically for Bitcoin. 88% return on your money. Q3 is only 6%. So we'll see what this last quarter is going to give us. October, I think, will be the beginning of some good stuff for a second week in October. We'll see. We'll see. All right, fam. Listen, I'm going to hop off here. Thank you so much for checking in. I appreciate you guys hanging out with the Crypto Siege on a Tuesday evening. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for sure. I'm going to end this live stream. Oh, do me a favor. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, would you do so on the way out? That'd be super, super cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. You can do your part right now by hitting that like button. It helps to get the channel out to more people who don't even know that a new financial system is being built right underneath their noses. And you can help by getting the channel out, hitting the like button, by getting the channel out to more people. They got to understand that they can win here. And they can get next level intel, alpha, signals that multi-billionaires have to pay for. They can get it here. in the digital asset space. All right, fam. So and also, if you happen to be in the 45 to 50% of people who are listening to, watching, hanging out, watching Crypto Siege and have not subscribed to the channel, we're trying to get that number down from 50% down to about 25%. And you could do your part by helping us to get there by doing your part by hitting that subscribe button right now. Help us get down to 25% or so. We're in a race to 9,000 subs for sure. Let's get there together. All right, fam. Listen, I'm going to end this slide, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.